Are live now, Mario. Welcome, everyone.
Hello. Hi.
um, Another Around Mijas. Mario is here for a monthly report on council meetings. I have to say, as the elections get closer, Mario, they're getting more and more bad-tempered, aren't they?
Mercury is rising, as the British or the American would say. Yes,
Yeah.
you can see how nervous the government becomes when we start to make questions that they cannot answer because they know the answer and they will be ashamed to tell the truth. So they keep giving useless excuses just to change the subject. But
Well,
people are not silly, and that those questions will have to be answered sooner or later.
yeah, and usually what they do is blame you, Mario.
Yes, I should be something like a Superman because it is now more than 7 years ago, in which, in theory, I cannot take any decisions in the town hall, but everything is my fault, so I am powerful.
You are indeed. Um, Mario, a bit of nice news. I hear that Mijas Pueblo has been named as one of the prettiest villages in Spain to visit in spring. What do you think of that?
Yes, well, I'm afraid that is not nothing new, so it cannot be due to neither you or me. Since 1960 something, Mijas, the historical village of Mijas, that small village in the top of a mountain, was chosen as something important in the area, an
Right.
historic city. However, we still need to do a lot of things to keep that happening. If you go to Mijas, yes, you will see a very wonderful place, but you will see also a lot of telephone cables, a lot of plastic boxes for bottles, a lot
Mm,
of things that we don't like. So
right.
we are very proud to have Mijas as that kind of city, but we will be even proud to get it cleaner and better. You may
Right.
remember that when the Popular Party was in power between 2011 and 2015, we removed thousands of cables. Mainly, all of you know Street San Sebastian, the one that goes up from the church opposite Bar Porras
Yeah.
upwards. That street, which appears in most of the pictures that tourists, Spaniards or foreigners, get when they come to Mijas, that picture was always full of cables. And for the latest 10, 12 years, the picture is perfect. But there are Arab streets in which there are still cables. And
Right.
it is paramount to get that out of our streets.
So there's still work to be done there, then, Mario.
Well, there are more than two, but regarding Mijas, we have to remove all the cables to organize the delivery for bars and restaurants because they are entitled to get their product served, but also tourists and residents are entitled to be able to walk through the streets. So
Mm,
possibly the solution is to make the center of Mijas pedestrian only during certain hours of the day,
right.
perhaps in the summer until 8 or 9 p.m., and in winter only until 6 p.m. But
Yeah.
we need to remove the cars from the streets in the most busiest hours.
Yeah. Okay, Mario, yesterday's council meeting, about 3.5 hours, I think we were in there yesterday.
Mhm.
Um, there are a few things happening around Mijas with regards to schools, aren't there? Um,
Correct.
one positive and one not so positive.
Well, there is, let me start with something funny. Before 2011, so in the latest weeks of the Socialist Party, they promised to build a school in, well, the school is now built. It is called Indira Gandhi.
Right,
It is, let's say, possibly 500 meters up from Camino de Coin Road. The
right.
boss of the socialists said, and a school will be built here. When we arrived, we started to ask for that school to be built, and we were told, sorry, that is a sinkable area. And we said, well, how can this be called inundable, sinkable area, when we are 20 or 30 meters high above the level of Camino de Coin, for example? How
Right.
can Camino de Coin exist as a road and a school cannot be built 20 or 30 meters above? You can't. And it was only when we lose the government, when someone in the Junta Andalucía draw a line on a plan and said, this is not thinkable now.
Okay.
And the school was built. And now the high school for people from 12 to 16 is being built besides to that. And the works are very slow. You can hardly see any builder there. So in the last monthly meeting, the Councillor Esperanza, who is the one that make more questions, some of them perhaps not very interesting, but it doesn't matter. She asked for the works of that extension. And she was told that it is due to the fact that the person who was dealing with that before belonged to Ciudadanos, but as now belongs to the Popular Party, the builders are not working. And I thought that was a stupid reply. So I started to find out who was the manager directing the construction. And it happened to be someone from Mijas, someone who, in fact, was an assessor of Ciudadanos when they were in power between 2015 and 2019. That person, who has a name and a face, is the general manager of the public agency that built the schools. So I sent him officially a nice letter from the Popular Party of Mijas, asking him what was happening, why this delay, because this delay will make the children not be able to go there from September.
Right.
They haven't answered. So yesterday in the meeting, I asked, why don't you call this person to hurry up? And they refused, saying that it was its fault. So they were blaming the fault between the president of the Junta Andalucía and the janitor of the building. But not everybody except the general manager of the agency that built the schools. That is very sad. We have been told that the school will not be finished in June. Well, you can see it now. It is the end of March, and there are no walls yet, but it might be finished for Christmas. So perhaps the year 2024 will bring us a new, we keep calling that Instituto. Officially, it is the secondary school for children from 12 to 16. But the situation is very sad in the other side, in La Cala. You know, La Cala is the area that has grown up more in Mijas, full of foreigners in an age not to have children, unless you are called Ana Obregón. But also there are some Spanish couples with young children and they need schools. So the government started to work regarding the extension of Jardín Botánico School. And then we had the impression that something was wrong, something was very wrong. And then we realized that at a school that was built in 2006, when both the government and the junta were managed by the socialists, the school was built in a land that does not belong to the town hall, it belongs to a developer.
Right, that was a good thing to do.
Yes, we have been diving through the papers, not the one we have been given, others, the papers that they never give us. And it happens that the owner of the land has been requesting for a lot of years that the town hall demolish whatever illegal construction has been built there and takes the plot back to how it was before. So the owner of that plot is asking the town hall exactly the same words as the town hall will ask you if you make an illegal house. Demolish that and leave the plot open. So in order to sort that out without not a big hassle, they have decided to expropriate the land, both the land where the school is now and also the land where the school is going to be extended. 800,000 euros from your taxes and mine have already been paid into the courts for that. But they haven't got it. So the Junta Andalucía, which is now handed by serious people, will never build the extension of Jardín Botánico until the land belongs to the town hall. And I was very upset because the councillors of the Socialist Party have gone to that school to tell people that the school cannot be extended because the Junta Andalucía is very bad, because it is ruled by the Popular Party. No, that is not true. That school cannot be extended because it cannot be there. And the town hall should save the time instead of going there to say stupid things, go back to work and try to complete the expropriation and
Right.
apologize for the damage they have done to all Mijeños, because we have wasted 900,000 euros, and also to the children that will have to be at least 2 more years in these sheds,
Yeah.
metal sheds that have been delivered to the area. So
Yeah.
it is not that the junta hasn't got the money. The junta has all the money needed for the school. It is that they don't have the papers. And when you don't have the papers, you should better shut up, apologize, and work hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is. I mean, I said a lot of denial and gaslighting and whatever, and this is just what the council meetings are like at the moment. You ask a straightforward question, and they just either tell you you're wrong, no, it's not like that, or they blame someone else for it. But I mean, nobody dies, Mario, if someone in the council says, look, this was managed very badly 20 years ago when this was built. We're now trying to sort it out. Um, y- you know,
Yes,
um,
but they don't do that. And
no,
let me tell you the background of that story. The town hall didn't build the school in that land just for fun, all of a sudden. No, they were promised that the developer will give them this land in exchange of another piece of land, which is above El Lagarejo in an area called Loma del Real.
mm,
So someone in the town hall, I guess they shook hands, they went to a bar to have a beer, but they forgot to sign the paper. So
right,
the developer, who is not stupid and who is paid only for the amount of work he does, not simply because of the time he is on a share, was very fast, built a swimming pool and 2 paddle courts in that area. He
right.
built a lot of apartments and sold the apartments, telling them, listen, this is your swimming pool and your paddle courts. So he asked for, I don't know, 20 or 30% more for those apartments. He got all the money and left. And then the owners, after several years using that swimming pool and those tennis courts, were told, sorry, there is a mistake. This is not your land. This is the land owned by the town hall. So you cannot use the swimming pool, you cannot use the paddle courts.
All
The
right,
owners were very angry, but I don't know why they are happy with the result. So they have paid for an apartment with swimming pool and paddle courts, but they don't have it.
right.
They don't. And I don't know why they are in silence. Possibly they don't know the full story. So the town hall, trying to keep everything quiet, has filled up the swimming pool with soil and has made a park very quickly in 2 weeks. And the park will be opened officially tomorrow. The fact that there is only 55 or 56 days for the next elections has nothing to do with this.
Of course, it doesn't,
So
Mario.
instead of having a swimming pool and 2 paddle courts, you are going to have a small park.
Right.
And the owners are supposed to clap their hands and say, what a nice person you are, Mr. Mayor.
Right.
That is not the case.
Mm,
That is a very bad thing, but that is how the government was. It is true that this has not been done by the present government. It was done between the 2006 and 2008, but the present government has ignored that, has forgotten about the truth, has not
yes.
apologized, and is trying to cover everything with a coat of soil so nobody complains.
Right.
But we
All
will
right.
complain.
You will indeed. You do, Mario. Now, I did a series of videos, Mario, about the promises that our current government made in 2019, of which none of them actually are. Well, there are two that are maybe underway, but there's nothing finished.
Mhm.
Sorry, I've got a comment from Michael here, and we can't possibly comment on incompetence or corruption, Michael.
Both, both. I would
Uh,
say both. It has to be a mixture. It
Pe-
cannot be due only to one thing. It has to
Peter
be
is
two.
saying you couldn't make this up. I have learned that that's a very useful phrase, Peter, over the last few years that I've actually been on the political scene here. Now, they made a lot of promises. Um, they've got a half-built swimming pool. They've got the board. Well, it's not going to be a boardwalk, but some kind of foot path between La Cala and Fuengirola with a gap out to tender at least. But
Correct.
neither of these things have been finished. But the other thing
Mhm.
that they promised was they were going to build a residence for the elderly. Now, there's a
Correct.
story here again, Mario. Well, it's kind of two stories, isn't there?
Yes, let me tell you something. When we arrived in 2011, there was the voice was in the street. People were looking for a residence. Why? Because we have many old people who do not have a family, either
Mm,
because they have come from abroad or simply they have come from other parts of Spain. In the rest of Spain, people live within a family, within a very wide family, so they take care one of another. But here
mm,
in Mijas, we have a lot of I was going to say isolated people. Perhaps that
yeah,
is not the right word, but people who live alone and may not be able to manage alone in the latest years of their life. So the rumor was in the street, we need a residence. We found that we had a black hole of 70 million euros. So we started to pay all the debts and to do the immediate works. But it was in the mind of everybody that a resident would be, let's say, the first thing to do in Mijas whenever there was a little bit of money left. I
right,
think that was in the mind of everyone. So in 2016, following a proposal of Juan Carlos Maldonado, the mayor at that time, the 25 councillors said, yes, let's do it. And we decided to put 10 million euros of the savings of the town hall, that were not too many, but we could manage 10 million euros for that. Nothing happened. Well, yes, a lot of pictures, a lot of meetings, a lot of promises, a lot
right,
of drawings saying, this is how you will have the residence. No, this is how it will be done. It will be bigger, it will be better, it will have more trees. Nothing was done. So the socialists came back 2019 and they started to do the same. The residence is going to be better. And we have already found the place. Good. And we now have all the authorizations from the Junta de Andalucía, so everybody's happy. And then in September 2022, they asked for the last paper, and the Junta de Andalucía said, sorry, you have spent all the money. We cannot allow you to build a residence because you have no money to do it. And they told the elderly people in Mijas that the Junta de Andalucía didn't allow them to do it because they were jealous. What a stupid excuse.
yeah,
The Junta de Andalucía said in October, black over white, you cannot do the residence because you don't have money. And it was true. The person
yeah,
who said that Mijas didn't have money was not a technician in Seville, was the general auditor of Mijas. That is the
right,
reply from the Junta, the one that you can see on the picture,
yes,
that says you had 103 million euros, but you have now committed all that money, so there is nothing left. So how can you pretend we authorize you to build a new building if you don't have money?
right.
But they didn't give us that document. They hide it. And it was delivered to us only a couple of days before the pleno yesterday.
Right,
That's
right.
why for us it was a surprise. I mean, we knew this, but we didn't have the paper. And
Uh,
then yesterday we had the paper, and that's why I read it. And that's
yeah,
why I explained that the government has allocated all those savings to make the park, that famous park that they are saying every day, to pay for the concerts in La Cala for the next 5 years, but they forgot to include the residents. And we knew this because in October, they wanted to spend money on something else. And they opened what I call at that meeting the piggy bank. Every town hall needs to save 500,000 euros in case of an extraordinary event, a flood,
emergency.
a
Yes.
fire, an earthquake. And they were using those 500,000 euros. And they said, well, it is almost the end of the year. Nothing is going to happen in November and December. So we are going to spend it. And then I
Right.
asked, what happened with the 100 millions? And they didn't reply. But it was obvious that they had already committed, not spent, but committed.
Yes.
So that's why, as they are useless, I mean, they appear, they make a lot of promises and a lot of pictures, but at the end, they don't do everything. I think they have spent less than 20% of that money. So when
Right.
they do the accounts of the year 2022, that will be finished eventually one day, then they will see that there is a lot of money left. So if they ask the junta for an authorization at that very moment, the junta will authorize the town hall. So
Yes.
the solution is clear. Either you don't spend all the money or you wait again until you have money available.
Right.
But that means perhaps waiting after the elections, and they don't want that. So
No.
yesterday they decided to give that plot to a private company that will make a building. It will be a private residence, and the town hall will obtain 8 places for 8 people. So we
Right.
are giving one of the best plots in Mijas just to have 4 places for 4 people that cannot afford a private residence.
Right. And this plot that they have given to this private company to build the residence, Mario,
Yes,
would that have been the plot that we would have used if we were building a municipal residence for the?
correct, correct. Even though Mijas is immense, as we say,
Yeah,
there are not many plots near Las Lagunas, where we have most of our old population living. We
yeah,
don't have many plots to give it to people.
yeah.
So if we start giving this, when are we going to build the public resident hall there?
Right.
So that's why in the monthly meeting I said, listen, people have been waiting many years. Why don't you ask now to the junta for this authorization? And when you get it, then you continue building the residence.
Yes.
But as I said, that means not only doing things properly, this means doing things in time. And
Right.
they are now in a very big rush to be able to promise something before the 28th of May.
Right.
The problem is that people know that they have been ruling the government during 8 years. They have delivered a lot of promises, but there is nothing real.
Right.
Only the intention of giving one of the best plot of Mijas to a company that we don't know yet, in order that we will get 8 rooms. Well,
Right.
not 8 rooms. We don't know if the rooms will be for 1 or 2 people.
Right.
Eight, 8 persons to
It's,
be allocated there. It
yeah.
doesn't look a good deal.
No.
It doesn't.
No, I mean, there are private residences around, and I think they're
Mhm.
very good. But as you say, Mario, not everybody can afford for a family member a private residence because, it doesn't matter whether you're here in Mijas or in some part of Spain or in other parts of Europe. These kind of services are expensive.
Yes,
Um,
let
you know,
me tell you the prices. A private residence may cost between 2,000 and 2,500 euros. A public residence will cost you 80% of your pension.
right?
That
Yes.
is how the state works. So
Yeah.
if your pension is only 1,000 euros, you can go to the residence, but you will pay only 800. So you
Right.
will always have 20% of your pension for your private expenses. And
Yeah.
in the residence, you will have food and accommodation, and the electricity, the water, everything will be paid by the company.
Right.
So you will not have any expense if you are living in the residence. And
Mm.
in exchange of that, if it is public, you have to pay 80% of your pension. That's why people want a public residence, not because they are better or worse, simply because they are affordable.
Affordable.
And
Yes.
people cannot afford, because if they can afford, they go there. They don't ask for anything, they just go
Yeah.
and use it. Those who request a residence are those who cannot afford to pay those prices, but they will be happy to give 80% of their pension in order
Yeah.
to spend their latest years within a company and within a help.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I mean, my mother passed her last years in a residence in Scotland, and that's how it worked, Mario. That basically her pension was paid over to the residents, and she was given a percentage of that back for just spending money for
Mhm.
just her sort of day-to-day needs. And why? Because we certainly couldn't afford the cost of a private residence.
Mhm. I personally believe that many people who are asking for help, in fact, they are not asking for a residence. They are simply asking for perhaps a person to go to their houses a couple of hours a day to do
Yes.
the heavy task. But some people, mainly those who have a house, big or small, they prefer to stay in their homes. They don't want
Yes.
to go somewhere else. They have all their memories and all their
Mm,
friends. Only if they are handicapped, I mean, only if they cannot live by themselves, they will accept to go to a residence. But
yeah.
people who can manage, my mother, 86, she would be very happy just to have one lady 2, 3 hours a week to
Yeah.
do the cleaning of the windows, which are very heavy and things like that. She would never would like to go to a residence. I
Sure.
appreciate those who are not uh, able to manage themselves, then they would like to go to a residence. And that is the commitment of the popular part, as you know. So if we win the next election and go back to government, I think our priority will be to build a public residence for the
Sure.
elderly of Mijas.
Yeah, we're going to comment from Michael here, and I think this is a great idea that we should have a list of promises or electoral commitments with a tick or a cross for those that have been
Well,
delivered or not delivered outside the council offices.
I
Um,
can I can give you the list very quickly. Out of their 10 promises, which they did in 2019, they have disregarded 9, and one of them that was to build a new school for children in Mijas village. They
yeah,
have done some work in the existing school, which we
sure.
call children kindergarten. So that is the only one out of 10 that they have done something similar to what they promised. Instead of building a new one, they have refurbished the existing one. That's all. The other 9, you can cross, delete, or simply forget about them. Some of them will be back now. So they have very good option. They can still print that list, remove only the one that they have done, and put something new. They
Well,
will still be promising the other 9.
I can show Michael what the promises were actually. We did go through this once, Mario, but I can just very briefly, without really sort of talking about it. Um, they were going to put the A7 around Las Lagunas underground with a big public space on the top. Didn't happen. Construction of a public residence for the elderly in Las Lagunas. Great sports city in the race course.
No,
Turning the old fire station into which is Las Lagunas area, into a civic
mhm,
and youth center, extending the Alzheimer's service in the old Civil Guard headquarters in Mijas Pueblo.
no,
The Las Lagunas culture place in Las Lagunas with underground parking,
no.
a new infant school in Mijas Pueblo. Yeah, they've done some work on it.
Partially. That's the
Not
only
a
one.
new
Number
one.
7.
A construction of a cultural center in Mijas Pueblo.
No,
Um, Enabling parking spaces in Mijas Pueblo, not
no.
done. The coastal path has not been done, although it's gone out to tender, but it's nowhere near what we want, or nowhere near started even.
Mhm.
Uh, Integral reform the Boulevard of La Cala. They were going to put
None,
underground parking in La Cala and big public spaces on top. The indoor swimming pool and a second football field in La Cala. Well, the pool's maybe half done. There's no
the
second.
pool is now a bath.
It's a bath, right?
We are extending from a bath into a pool. Fine.
Yeah. There was public housing stock, and this was really about low cost housing, but nothing has been done. Beach stabilization, nothing has been done. and the construction of a hospital, which has not
Mm.
been done. So
Correct. A good summary.
that's the sort of tick list, Michael. It's not impressive, I have to
By
say.
the way, that list is still in the website of the PSOE, so it is not something that Bill or myself have found out. It is still there. They are still very proud that out of their 12 promises, they have made half of number 7. Good.
Yeah. Well, Michael said all the broken promises need to be published again and again in every media outlet in the build up to the election. Well, I actually I did about 11 videos, just going through these one by one. I did one summary video, which I will certainly I'm quite happy to repost that. And Anne, hi Anne, thanks for joining us. Unbelievable list of fails. Yeah, I think so. And I'm not saying they have done nothing, but what I am saying is this: they haven't done the things that they promised the people.
Yes.
And
Well,
you
but
know,
Bill, in exchange of that, they have committed the Mijas economy to have 4 more years of a very big music concert in La Cala. That's
yeah,
important. You cannot
yeah,
forget about that. It is going to cost 1.2 million euros every year. Yes, but that's nothing compared to the quality of music that they are bringing to La Cala
for 3 days,
for 2.5 days.
two and a
But
half
that's
days.
fine.
Yeah. Well, I was with some business people this morning, who who were saying that they weren't impressed with the lineup for the concert this year. But Mario, I don't know any of them, so I couldn't say whether it's a good or a bad lineup because I've
Mm.
never heard of any of them.
And Bill, you are not that old. So either these people are completely unknown. They tried, it is true that they did an effort to bring, let's say, first line people last year in August.
Yeah,
But now they just want to make 5 million euros profit for the next 4 years. So they are bringing the cheapest people, and that will increase their profit, which is fair. When you don't sign a list of groups, they will give you whatever they can afford.
Peter said it's a great lineup, and he's 66. Well, I was talking to people who were significantly less than 66, and I'm 65. And they said, I've only ever heard of one of them, Strokes or something. I don't really know. If they came after 1978, I've probably not heard of them, you know.
Mhm.
But the other thing that Mario, we talk quite glibly about 1.2 million for 3 days of concert. Um, but I had maybe 2 weeks ago a live stream just looking at what people felt the priorities for Mika should be, and I certainly I pieced these all together into a single document. But one of the things, now I know it's complicated because it belongs to the junta, but people were saying, why can't we get Theo Mijas up and running again properly and get the hotel up and running again properly? And I remember a conversation I had with you. It was a while back now, so maybe the numbers have changed. But 1.2 million could probably run the best part of Theo Mijas.
I can tell you how it worked. It opened in 2005, and the junta, well, that was built because Mijas Town Hall gave that land, and the junta built the center. Basically, there was a hotel for people, there was a residence for the students, there were classes where people would learn, and also a very popular restaurant.
Yeah,
And the
and
management,
also lecture theaters and things that could be used for events. Yeah,
that's right. And all of the running of that was given for 10 years to a company. It was a joint venture of a company that was running hotels and another company that was running schools, which seems a very fair solution.
mhm.
And they appointed a very nice lady with a lot of experience running hotels in several countries in the world, and they were doing something very good. And they were getting, I think it was 1.3 million euros every year And with that amount of money, they will provide food and accommodation for the students. They will teach them. They will run the hotel, the restaurant, and everything.
Yes.
The contract expired. It was not renewed, and the CEO was closed. There was some vandalism and destroyed, but we cannot understand how it remains closed, how and why.
Yeah.
Because just with a little bit of investment, the hotel could be reopened tomorrow. This
Yes.
hotel has a bridge over the A7, so it is 10 minutes walking to the beach. A
Yeah.
hotel finished with, I think it was 50 rooms or 60, so close to the beach, empty in the Costa del Sol, is a crime. People
Yeah.
should go to jail for having this hotel closed instead of running.
Yeah.
Just the
But
hotel.
yeah, but Mario, I taught there for 5 years, so I saw it very much from the inside. It was fantastically
Mhm.
run, very professionally managed, and these young people, they're mainly young people. Some were a bit older. We're actually leaving there with not just a piece of paper saying I've done a course on this or this or this, but actually with practical experience, because there was a 6-month placement after their studies. They were being
Correct.
taught by people who were active in the field. So the
Mhm.
golf management course was taught by managers of golf courses. The housekeeping
Mhm.
course was taught by the housekeeper at one of the five-star hotels from Marbella. These were people who were very much in the business that were teaching it,
Yes.
and these young people were actually given, something really concrete for the future. And that's been lost. Michael is asking, could the hotel be repurposed for an elderly care home?
No. And let me tell you why. First, that hotel is very, very close to the beach. That means that the plot of land cost three, 4 or 5 times more than a resident for the elderly. And
Right.
also, all that area is designed to be a school for children where they could, well, children, grown up people, and they could practice whatever they have been explained in the morning, they could practice in the evening, either in the hotel or in the restaurant.
Yeah.
So there is a place for everything, and the CEO should go back to a hotel. As Am will say, there is a crisis for the lack of catering staff properly trained. Everybody who went through the CEO is now working,
Yes.
everybody. And they
Yeah.
are very proud. And wherever they go saying, I have been trained at the CEO, they get a good honor for that.
Yes.
I don't know if you are aware that we met this German fellow called Manuel Molina. He was patronizing 3 or 4 students every year.
Right.
He will send them from Germany to the FIO, and then he will take them back to Germany to work there.
Yeah.
So
I,
the
I, I,
fame,
I I know that, Mario, because I had to translate the contract for the students coming from German into Spanish.
the fame of FIO even reached Germany at that time.
Yeah,
But
it's
there was something with the origin of funds that were coming from Europe. Then the program, the contract expired in December 2015, correct? And
mm,
now it has been closed since then. But
yeah,
you can be sure that if we win the next elections and go back to the government, we will make everything to put that back into work.
yeah,
That is an asset that we have had useless during so many years. The
yeah,
same as the race course. They removed the access control outside, and we have suffered damages for 3.5 million euros. Who
right,
is going to pay for that?
yeah.
Who
No,
has decided to remove the guard from the outside?
but I think that these are just two examples of things that need to be addressed, Mario. And
Mhm.
I was just giving an example. We call it in finance or business terms of opportunity costs. That if you spend your money on one thing, you don't have it to spend it on other things. And I'm not per se against a concert in Mijas, but if we have 1.2 million to spend, you have to say, where do we put it to best use? For 2.5
Correct.
days of concert, or do we put hundreds of students through professional training to
Mhm.
prepare them for work? Well, for me, that's not a hard decision to make because I came over here to teach, and I did it for many years, and I would like to see young people given the opportunity. I mean, we're not just talking about for the waiting staff being trained as waiting staff. We're talking about silver service. We're not talking about how to do a coffee inflate on a table. They were doing silver service waiting.
Yeah.
They were learning about the management of food and beverages. They were learning in the kitchen how to cook, and coming away with an actual qualification and experience. The students that were doing reception were actually doing the practice, their work practice in the hotel.
Yes.
So, it was a fantastic facility, and they were coming out not just with a piece of paper, but with experience, which is so important.
I know I stayed there one night just to paying as a customer, just to see how everything worked.
Yeah.
When I was a counselor of economy and taxes, and I was also taking care of the foreigner department, we organized there, we call it a lyric dinner. So there were three opera singers
Oh, yes.
singing, I mean, perhaps 10 minutes every time, 3 or 4 times along the dinner. And there were more than 100 people.
Mm,
And it was fantastic. The place is very good. Everything was perfect.
mm.
Perhaps it was too perfect for the politicians around it, and that's why it was closed.
Yeah.
We cannot afford that. We cannot let it go.
No.
We cannot forget about those assets that could make Mijas, mm, I was going to say great again. I don't want to
Yeah.
talk the same language as this fellow from America, but
Yeah.
we should make Mijas great again. It
Yeah.
is not so difficult. It is simply a matter of making everybody work in the right direction. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
No miracles are needed.
No, I mean, just to finish off, Mary, if you don't mind, um,
Yes.
I think 2 days, maybe 2 days before the meeting, I think I received 25 or 26 emails, which
Mhm.
were the documents for the Wednesday meeting. And each of these emails, you have to go into another page with them. And each of these emails contained about 15
20,
documents,
20 documents, because that
20
is the
documents.
maximum number.
Right, 20 documents times 25,
Mhm.
which you have to download one at a time
One, inserting a different code for each of them.
for
Yes.
each of them. Yeah. I'm going to be honest, Mario. I didn't do it. I thought I don't have 3 or 4 hours to spare going through these, but an awful lot of them, Mario, were bills that had
Mhm.
negative reports from the municipal auditor. We're talking about more hundreds of thousands of euros, aren't we?
Yes, well, the first point was 543,000 euros, and the second one were 200,000. But let me tell you something. Among all of those bills, I decided to pay attention to some of them, the ones that were bigger. And there was an invoice from a company from Chiclana, a very popular village in the coast, for 360,000 euros.
Mm,
Apparently, it has to do with the processions of the three kings. And I went in to find the details of the company. The company had only a social capital of 3,000 euros. So, can you explain me how a company that is funded only with 3,000 euros can provide a service for 300,000?
mm,
And assuming they are so clever to do that, and I feel envy for that, why doesn't the town hall pay them in time? Because if this was something that they did the 5th of January, we are now ending March, and they have simply reported that invoice to the Ministry of Economy and Taxes.
right.
I think you know that when a town hall is paying very late, they have to send the invoices to the ministry, and the ministry will pay them directly and will withhold the money from us.
Right.
So there was a list of 4 million euros, 4 million euros of invoices that the town hall has been unable to pay in time, and they were sending that to the ministry in Madrid, so they will pay those invoices and will withhold the money owed to the town hall for national taxes, will be paid from there.
Right.
We cannot be proud of that management.
No. Mario, I think we've covered a lot this evening. I
I
really
did my best.
you've done your best. Yeah, you have done well. Thank you for joining me again, Mario. Are we going to have
You're
one
welcome.
or two more council meetings before the elections?
In theory, the one in at the end of April,
Yeah.
that will be, let's say, standard. And at the end of May, it has to be about 2 weeks before the elections, because we have one of the final tasks of the government will be to pick up from the computer the people that will go to
Uh,
the polling stations.
right.
As you know, in the polling station, there are 3 people per table that will be obtained from the municipal census in that monthly meeting that used to be about 2 weeks before the election. So possibly the monthly meeting of May will be around the 15th.
Right.
And that will be all. 4 years will have gone. We
Mhm.
will have done our best, and we will have the illusion to win the elections and go back for more years.
Yes. Mario, thank you so much. Thank you. There's been a lot of people actually listening in this evening live. Thank you to everyone. And
Thank you.
it's almost a weekend. So have a great weekend, everyone. The weather's lovely. And I shall see you next week. You take care, everyone.
Goodbye.